That'll Be the Day was Buddy Holly's first big hit, and it's one of the records that helped define the sound of rock and roll. His record company hated the version he recorded for them and decided not to release it. What were the differences between the first version and the eventual hit? I'm JP McDermott for West Coast Ramble, and this is part 3 of the true tale of Buddy Holly's That'll Be the Day. If you like it, and subscribe too. Even though the Nashville and Clovis versions are the exact same song with the exact same structure, there were some big differences in the recording and the performances that distinguished the hit from the version that Decca decided to write off. I'll break those differences down here. This next part is a mixture of fact and opinion, so your mileage may vary. The first and most obvious difference is the key the song is sung in. Country star Webb Pierce had advised Buddy, saying, "If you want a hit, sing as high as you can." Taking this a bit too far, Buddy set the song in the key of D for the Nashville version, 4 full steps higher than his natural register, making Buddy's vocal sound strained and pitchy. The hit version we all know and love is in the key of A, the same key as many of Buddy's biggest hits. Here's a bit of That'll Be the Day in the Nashville key of D.
That'll be the day when you say goodbye.
And now let's put it into the key of A, where Buddy did it on the hit version. Buddy used capo on this song.
That'll be the day when you make me cry.
The next difference is the beat. The Nashville version has the feel of an attempt to play rhythm and blues. It doesn't really sound like Buddy and J.I. have figured out the song quite yet. Some of the other songs cut that day, like Ollie V, are real firecrackers, but not this one. The intense rehearsing that Buddy and J.I. did in late 1956 after the Nashville session resulted in a much tighter and more powerfully swinging beat. In the Clovis version, rather than sounding like novice R&B players, Buddy and J.I. have mastered rock and roll. Another key factor is the overall sound quality of the recordings. The Clovis cut just simply sounds better. This is a real testament to Norman Petty's engineering skill, to the design of the studio he literally built by hand, to his patience, and to the attention he paid to the artists he recorded. Owen Bradley's Quonset hut in Nashville was one of the finest studios in America, and Owen Bradley is one of the finest producers. They clearly had the equipment and the engineering talent to make great records. The fantastic country hits put out by Decca in the 50s are evidence. Bradley recorded Patsy Cline's Walkin' After Midnight there, as well as 9-year-old Brenda Lee's astonishing Bigelow 6200. The studio was rented out to other labels and producers to record classic rockabilly numbers like Gene Vincent's Bebop-A-Lula and the rock and roll trio's Train Kept A-Rollin', both recorded only weeks before Buddy's July session. But just as clearly, and in his own words, Owen Bradley said he didn't really understand what Buddy was trying to do, and 19-year-old Buddy Holly didn't know how to explain it. There was no outward animosity towards the band. Sonny Curtis had said, "They just kind of turned on the mics and let us do our thing." The result is that the Nashville version of That'll Be the Day is buried in murky reverb, and the band is mixed well into the background. In contrast, Petty's recording is sparkling, with every instrument and voice audible and sitting at just the right sonic spot. The backing vocals by Nikki Sullivan and Gary and Ramona Tollett, recorded live with the band, are the icing on a really terrific cake. The more relaxed atmosphere Norman Petty created had to have a lot to do with it. The Clovis session took 6 hours to develop the 2 songs recorded, as opposed to the 3-hour Nashville session that cranked out 5. There's one last, very important element that cements That'll Be the Day's place as one of the elemental songs in the rock and roll canon, and it's that great guitar lick that bursts out of the speakers to start the song. The intro to the Nashville version is kind of tired and unspectacular in comparison. It's okay for a roller rink show, but not for a top 10 hit.
That'll be the day.
The lick from the Clovis version, while still based in a common blues turnaround, is something really innovative. What I think happened here is that Buddy copied the piano intro from Fats Domino's Blue Monday and transformed it into a guitar lick. Blue Monday is one of those covers from that late 1956 demo session, and on that demo, Buddy plays the intro just the way he does in the hit version of That'll Be the Day. Buddy had played similar licks before, particularly on Ting-a-Ling and Rockabye Rock, but never with this particularly great phrasing.
Well, that'll be the day.
I should note here that a similar lick appears on a Hank Ballard record from 1955 called Switchy Witchy Twitchy, though not as prominently as in That'll Be the Day. Sonny Curtis thinks that Lonnie Johnson's Jelly Roll Baker might have been the inspiration. Buddy certainly knew both of those songs, but I can't draw the straight line to either of them the way that I can to the Fats record. With all these new factors in its favor, the great song that Buddy and J.I. wrote could shine through. They knew they had a potential hit record, but there was one huge problem that threatened to keep That'll Be the Day buried forever. Stay tuned for part 4 of the true tale of how Buddy, with some help from Norman Petty and a few fibs, finally managed to get that hit record.